capsule.
Yeah.
All efforts to resuscitate him failed, and he died. Then you have Martin Bormann, so I think chairman of the party almost. He became greatly, more significant in power towards the end of the war, due to the fact he could control pretty much all information that went to Hitler. He actually tried to break out of Berlin after Hitler died. Now, a lot of people have said, oh, he went to Argentina, oh my goodness. But he didn't. There is clear proof that, so after the war, the story goes that a Berlin kind of boy was ordered to bury 2 bodies, and one of them could be identified at the time, one of the people known to be accompanying Bormann. So a bit of backtrack to this, he tried to go across a bridge, but got pretty much jumped by Soviet troops. Someone from that party survived because they went a different way to the bridge, but they both got killed, basically. Bormann, though, yeah, he was definitely killed. They found his skeleton after a while excavating for some buildings in Berlin, and he was finally identified reasonably recently, which put an end to the whole big conspiracy that, he got away. Again, likewise, Adolf Hitler, there's a lot of speculation he got away. He didn't. There's, not only are there multiple accounts from the bunker itself of hearing a gunshot, but also the Soviets, they wanted us to believe that he was still at large, so we'd just waste resources on trying to find him. In reality, they'd actually taken his body, they buried it under a parade ground somewhere in East Germany, and then, to prevent it becoming kind of a shrine after a while, they just destroyed it completely, converted it literally to just ashes, and threw it into the sewers in Madberg, East Germany. Onto some of the dead, Alfred Jodl and Wilhelm Keitel, commander-in-chiefs of the German Wehrmacht, were both killed for both sympathising and organising, and also facilitating war crimes. People who did, some would say surprisingly, get away. Albert Speer, who basically post-war set about kind of portraying himself as a great hero, which he wasn't. And Grand Admiral Karl Dönitz, who was the head of the German Navy, and then really late in the war, we were speaking earlier about Kurland, he evacuated a lot of civilians from Kurland later in the war. Operation Hannibal, if you want to read more about that, just, I guess, look it up online, not on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he was actually the Führer of the Reich. Hitler, having decided that Goering had abandoned him, Himmler had abandoned him, Goebbels was just going to stay in the bunker and did kill himself and his wife and his children. Yeah, he just led the Reich to the end of the war, pretty much.
So yeah, thanks Toby. Well said. Before we try and reconnect with Toby, I would just like to say that, once Hitler was dead on the 31st of April 1945, Germany and the German Reich, Third Reich, that was it for Germany itself, basically. And once these 3 sectors of Germany by Britain, America and Russia was established, the what was classed as the Berlin Wall was set up in the Russian sector, or stretching across Berlin, which of course built in 1945, late 1945, 1946, then basically stopped by the time 1989 comes along and the Berlin Wall gets chopped down by civilians in Berlin, and so the Berlin Wall is very, very famous for that. Of course, you had news reporters, war correspondents flittering about through the wall, and of course the wall was guarded by Russians, and then later on East German. You can class as Fourth Reich, but it's not classed as the Fourth Reich. It's just East and West German, because they were divided up into those two different armies. Then by 1950, of course, you still got the sectors, British, America and Russia, but Germany really, brought its army back up to strength with the East and West German powers, German army, and Germany kind of got back to normal with no World War. But of course, by that time, the Korean Wars started, and you had basically a new type of new type of Reich, kind of communism, which was spread about because of the how Russia was very kind of what you can class you can kind of class two-faced, or you can kind of class them as a very suspicious act that Russia did. Of course, then by this time the Cold War started on. So do you want to just finish the video, Toby, on something?
Yes, so I did want to very quickly mention, after the war in Germany, civilians were left with literally just nothing whatsoever, absolutely zilch. So they actually ended up converting old military objects into household utensils and things. So at the end of this video, I'm sending a couple of images across to Tim of this, so he can hopefully put them in the video. I have a candlestick holder made out of a Panzerfaust warhead from the Panzerfaust 30 Klein, which was the very earliest Panzerfaust made. They're taking things that can just kill and destroy people and turning them into just simple little things like that. I mean, I may or may not include, someone's turned the head of a stick grenade into the very famous, the German Stahlhandgranate.
Thing is with that, Toby, they were never really used. They were never needed to be used after 1945, for destruction. So, people from the German army converted them into household goods, like Stahlhelm very famously has turned on its head, literally, and it was upside down, and I used as a kind of a flower pot, things like which you see a lot in the garden after the war, and things like German Stahlhelm stick grenade bits being turned into mugs and things like that. So this wraps up the final part, or episode 3, of the Germany Rise and Fall from 1933 to 1945. This episode is the late 1945, mainly 1946, and the kind of aftermath of what Germany encountered. So thanks for watching this little mini-series, and I'll see you in the next video or series. Thanks, guys.